Hello and welcome to your online pulmonary rehabilitation video class with myself, Beverly, and the wonderful Ella. Today we're going to be going through exercises 4, 5 and 6 strength-wise. Before we get going, we're just going to go through a few safety things, so sit tight and get ready. So before we start exercising today, you need to run through a few safety aspects with yourselves. So if you were to stand up, just need to make sure that you've got enough room around you so you don't either hit something in your house or injure yourself. So if you place your arms out to the side as in a T position, and if you just kind of do a circle round with them, just to make sure you're not going to hit anything. And also just place your hands above yourself, just to make sure that you're not going to hit any light fixtures or anything on the ceiling. We don't want anything to be broken or to injure yourself, as we've already said. Also, please make sure that you've got a nice sturdy chair, so you can have arms on if you wish to do so, but please don't have any chairs with any wheels on. You may also want a nice stable surface in front of you. This could be a dining room table, or it could be a wall just to help yourself push up or lean against if required. But please, again, nothing with wheels on. This could be dangerous to yourself and you may fall over, and we do not wish this to happen. If you have any rugs, please make sure rugs are moved out the way, as these could be a trip hazard, and also make sure there are no animals around you that you could trip over as well. If you have young children around, please make sure they are preoccupied, as again, these could become a trip hazard or a distraction whilst doing your exercises. Please also make sure that you've got a water bottle nearby so you can keep taking sips throughout the whole exercise program. We want you to stay nice and hydrated. Also have your weights nearby, so if you need your weights for certain exercises, that you've got them there. And if you have oxygen prescribed, please make sure it's turned on to the correct literage and that you are using it as appropriate to do so. If you do have a SAPS probe, please place this on your finger so you can monitor yourself throughout the program. And if you have your blue inhaler, please have that nearby. If you find that exercise does aggravate you, you can feel free to take this about 10 to 15 minutes before exercise. And please do take this during the class if you feel it is appropriate. If you feel like you're becoming unwell, please do stop, take a sit down and contact help if you need to. This could either be your next of kin or this could be the emergency services, either via 111 or 999. You can also contact your GP if you do have any concerns. Please note that you are exercising at your own risk and that you only do what you know you can do. If you have been given adaptations for any exercises during your normal pulmonary rehab class, please complete them during this exercise video.
Okay, so we're now going to move into our warm-up section. So we're going to prepare that body for the exercise, get the joints nice and mobile and get the muscles nice and warm. So we're going to start off with some stretches, and we're going to start from the top of our body, from our neck, and we're going to gradually work our way down from our shoulders to our hips and our knees. And then after that, we're going to go into a little pulse raiser to get that heart rate up. So I'm going to demonstrate all of the warm-ups standing, and Bev here is going to do everything seated. So we're going to start off with our neck, and we're going to slowly turn our head round, looking over our shoulder, and bringing your head back to the center and looking over the other side. We want to make sure that we're finding that comfortable point for yourself and you're not pushing past any point in pain. It should just be a mild discomfort. We're going to aim to perform around 4 to 6 repetitions each side before moving on to the next exercise. And remember to keep that pursed lip breathing. So we're breathing in through the nose and out through pursed lips of the mouth. And as you probably would have heard us say in the classes, a good way to remember this is smelling the roses and blowing out the candles. Excellent. Okay, so when we're back in the center, we're going to slowly bring our head up to the ceiling and slowly dipping that head down, bringing that chin into the chest. Again, we're going to work at a point where we feel that mild discomfort, and we're just going to work in a range of motion that's comfortable for you and making sure that we're keeping up that pursed lip breathing. Excellent. So we're going to do a couple more. Nice and controlled. And last one. Excellent. The last one of the neck we're going to do is bringing our ear to our shoulder. So we're feeling that stretch along the side of the neck. Slowly bringing our head up and down to the other side. We want to ensure with this one that we're bringing our head to our shoulder and not our shoulder to our head. So we're making sure that it is the neck that we are stretching. And again, with the other two exercises, making sure that we're smelling those roses and blowing out those candles. Perfect, so we'll do one more. Excellent, good. So we're going to move on to some shoulder stretches. So we're going to start off just doing some shoulder rolls backwards. So we're bringing those shoulders up to the ear, round and down. Start off with a smaller range of motion. Get those shoulders nice and warm. And then when you feel ready, start increasing that range of motion slightly. Driving those shoulders up to the ears, round and back down. And ensure that we are keeping that controlled breathing in through the nose, out through pursed lips of the mouth. And then we're going to bring our hands on our shoulders and do some little arm circles with our elbows. So as you can see, we are just gradually increasing that range of motion, gradually getting the shoulders warmer and preparing them for the exercise that we're going to do. Excellent, and then we're going to do backward swimmer arms. Perfect. Again, with this one, make sure that you are working within your own comfortable range of motion. If you do feel that you have any pain coming from this, or you do have any shoulder pain anyway, then just slightly reduce that range of motion and just do your swimmer arms a little bit lower. Good. And relax. So we're going to go into some stretches now that's going to use some controlled breathing. So we're going to start with our hands in front of our chest, and we're going to take a nice deep breath in through the nose. And as we breathe out, we're going to rotate round. As we come back forwards, breathing in through the nose, and as we breathe out, twist round to the other side. When we are doing these standing, we're going to try and keep our hips facing forwards. So we're making sure that that rotation is coming from the torso, so we can get a good stretch with that. So we're breathing in as we come to the center, breathing out as we come down, finding that stretch and making sure we're not going past a mild discomfort, and we do not want to experience any pain whilst performing these. So we'll do one more each side. And relax when you get to the center. Good, so we're going to relax our arms down, and we're going to do the same as we did before. So nice deep breath in through the nose, and as we breathe out, we're going to lean down, stretching our torso, breathing in as we come up and out as we come down. So if we are sitting, we're going to perform these exactly the same. If we do have any arms on the chairs and it is easier for you to sit forward slightly in your chair, then please do so. With this one as well, we're trying to keep our body in a straight line. So we're trying to avoid any bending forwards. Okay, we want to keep that body in a nice straight line. So we're breathing out as we do the stretch, breathing in as we come in. So we do one more each side. And relax. Excellent, good. So we're going to do one more stretch before moving on to our pulse raiser. So we're going to find a little spot on the floor, and we're going to tap that with our toe, and then we're going to tap that same point with our heel. So we're warming up that ankle joint. We're getting that flexion in by moving that ankle. And we're just going to do a few on each side, making sure that we've got that breathing in through the nose, out through pursed lips of the mouth. And we're going to swap legs. Excellent. So again, working that stretch to a comfortable range of motion. If you feel to begin with, you want to do a smaller range of motion, and then gradually, as that joint becomes a little bit warmer, you can see if we can stretch a little bit further. Good. And relax. Okay, so we're going to go into our pulse raiser now. So we're going to start with a nice gentle march on the spot, and we're gradually going to bring our arms in as well. So now we're getting into the pulse raiser. We're going to feel our heart rate increase, and we're also going to experience our breathing rate to increase as well. This is a perfectly normal response to exercise, but we do want to make sure that we are maintaining that breathing control when our heart rate and our breathing rate is increased. So we do this by our pursed lips breathing, breathing in through the nose, out through pursed lips of the mouth. And also just a reminder that we want to be working within that 3 to 4 scale on the Borg. So if we do start creeping up to a 5, please do reduce the intensity or just take a little rest, okay? So we're going to move into some side taps and some rows. Good, so if we are standing, we are copying me, and if we are seated, we can do exactly the same exercises, but just in seated, so follow Bev. Perfect, keeping that breathing control, in through the nose, out through pursed lips of the mouth. Excellent, and into some heel taps and bicep curls. Good, smelling those roses, blowing out the candles. We should be starting to feel that heart rate increasing, feeling that breathing rate increasing as well, but we're managing that with our breathing control. Perfect, good. And into a little step back and arms up. So if we are seated, come forwards in your chair slightly, bring your feet a little bit further forwards and tap back like Bev is demonstrating. Excellent, smelling those roses, blowing out those candles, making sure we're working within that 3 to 4 and back into a march. Excellent, good. And then just to finish off, we're just going to do a slight little jog, okay? So we're going to increase that intensity slightly, and we're just going to do that for 5 seconds, okay? So in 3, 2, 1, increase that speed a little bit. 3, 2, 1, back into that march, good. Remember that breathing control. Smelling the roses, blowing out the candles. And we're going to do one more jog, okay, for 5 seconds. In 3, 2, 1, go. 3, 2, 1, and into a march. Excellent, good. Hopefully we're all within that 3 to 4. Feeling nice and warm, feeling ready to get into our strength component. We're slowly going to bring that down, and we're going to adopt those positions of ease spoken about earlier. So if we are sat down, leaning forwards in your chair, arms resting on your knees with your palms facing upwards. And if we are standing up, we're taking that staggered stance, leaning on a sturdy surface and leaning forwards. Again, if we need to breathe as fast and as hard as we need to begin with, that is fine. And then once we're able to regain control of that breathing, we're going to take some nice breaths in through the nose, out through pursed lips of the mouth. Excellent, good. So that is the warm-up complete. So if you need to rest a little bit longer, that is fine. And please feel free to get some water before moving into our strength component. So we're now going to be moving on onto the strength component of our program. So we're going to be focusing on some strength-based exercises, predominantly focusing on the large muscle groups in the legs and also the upper body. So this includes our arm, back, and also our core. The reason for doing these strength-based exercises is that they're going to help reduce the demand for oxygen once we increase the strength in them. So this will translate well for when we're doing shopping, walking around the house, or also going outside, as it's going to help assist with that breathlessness management. When we're completing these strength exercises, we want to be trying to use some weights, whether this is handheld weights like we've got down on the floor here, or whether you're using some tins of beans within the house. And we would aim for you to be increasing your weights every 2 to 3 weeks. So we're going to be interspersing the strength exercises with some active recovery. And the purpose of this is to try and reduce your heart rate and to also lower your blood pressure. When we're performing the active recovery exercises, we want to try and avoid using any weights, as this is a recovery for our muscles. So today we're going to be performing exercises 4, 5, and 6. So this is our predominantly upper body focused session. So when we are performing these exercises, please make sure that you have your weights nearby. You also have some water to take when we have some rest, and also you have a sturdy chair and or table for assistance should you need. Okay, so we are going to move on into the first strength component of the upper body session today. So the first exercise is going to be the bicep curls with march and punch as our active recovery. So just to demonstrate the first exercise for you. So whilst we are performing the bicep curls, we want to ensure that our elbows are close to our body and we are starting with our arms down and our palms facing upwards. We want to make sure that we have got a good base of support if we are standing, so feet hip width apart, keeping that core nice and strong. Bev is just performing this standing, however, the movement is exactly the same if you were to be sitting down. So we are going to perform the movement by bringing the wrists up to the shoulders, and then we are slowly going to bring the arms down for 4 seconds. And we are going to keep this nice and controlled, breathing in as we bring the arms up and breathing out as we bring the arms down. If we need to make this a little bit easier at all, then what we can do is just put one weight down and perform the bicep curls with just one weight. So we're going to perform it exactly the same, but we're just going to hold the weights in both hands, and we are going to bring the hands up and slowly down for 4 seconds. If we need to make this a little bit easier further, what we can do is put both dumbbells down and just perform it without any weights, but we are going to keep the tempo exactly the same, so up and then down for 4. However, if we would like to make this a little bit more challenging, what we can do is whilst we are holding both weights, we can do the movement up for 4 seconds and the movement down for 4 seconds, and that's just going to further increase the intensity. Okay, so we are going to start the bicep curls in 3, 2, 1, and go. If we are seated, make sure we are sitting in the front part of our chair, so we are engaging that core and we're not relying on leaning on the back of the chair for support. So remember, keeping those elbows tucked into the sides, palms facing upwards, bringing the hands up and slowly down for 4 seconds. Remember, if we did want to make it a little bit harder, we can increase the time coming up to 4 seconds and keeping that downward time for 4 seconds as well. And if we did want to make it a little bit easier, we can just put one weight down and perform it with one dumbbell like Bev is doing. Keeping that breathing control, breathing in as we come up and breathing out as we come down. Excellent. Dumbbells down, and we're going to go into our active recovery, march and punch. Perfect, good. Breathing in through the nose, out through the mouth. Okay. Remember, we're working that Borg scale, 3 to 4. Excellent. Picking up those weights again. into our second set. Remember, elbows tucked into the side, bringing the arms up and down for 4. Excellent. Breathing in as we come up and breathing out as we come back down. Excellent. Good. Working towards that 3 to 4 on the Borg scale. If we are creeping up to a 5, just try working with 1 dumbbell. However, if we are finding that we're not quite reaching that 3 to 4 on that scale, we can slow that movement up and slow that movement down. And remember, as we should be aiming to increase our weights every 2 to 3 weeks. So if we find that we aren't hitting that 3 to 4, then it might be the case that you need to increase your weights. Weights down into our active recovery. March and punch, 30 seconds. Excellent. Keeping that breathing control, smelling those roses, blowing out those candles. Good, doing really, really well. About 5 more seconds and then we're going into our last set. Good, 3, 2, 1, and last set. Elbows tucked into the side, starting with our arms down. Got that good base of support to start with. Breathing in as we come up, breathing out as we come down. Keeping that downward movement nice and controlled. Ensure those shoulders are nice and relaxed, so with no hunching at all. Shoulders nice and low. Perfect, good. Smelling those roses, blowing out those candles. Working towards that 3 to 4 on the Borg scale. Last push. We're going to see if we can get a few more reps in before we move into our last active recovery. Excellent. And weights down. Last march and punch. Excellent. Last little push, and then we're going to have a little rest. Good. Smelling those roses, blowing out those candles. And 3, 2, 1, into that position of ease. So if we are seated, leaning forwards in our chair, arms resting on our knees with our palms facing upwards. And if we are standing, we're taking a staggered stance, leaning on a sturdy surface, whether that's a table or a chair. Breathing as hard and as fast as we need to initially, and then once we're able to get that breathing control, then we're breathing in through the nose, out through pursed lips of the mouth. Excellent, good. Okay, so while you are in your positions of ease and having your little rest, we're just going to demonstrate the next exercise for you. So exercise number 2 is going to be a squat, and the active recovery is going to be heel taps and bicep curl. So Bev here is going to demonstrate the squat. So we want to make sure that we've got a sturdy table or chair in front of us for support and balance should we require it. Make sure that our feet are hip width apart and our core is nice and tight and we have a nice tall posture. When we're performing the exercise, we're going to bring the hips back and bend the knees as we go into our squat. 4 seconds on the movement down before coming back up to standing. Excellent. So just a demonstration one more time. So we're bringing those hips back, bending the knees down for 4 seconds before coming back up. If we would like to make this a little bit less challenging, what we can do instead is do a half lunge. So we're going to start with a staggered stance, as Bev is demonstrating. Keeping that body upright and parallel, we want to make sure that we are dipping the knees down, and we're going to perform one leg for 30 seconds, and then we're performing the other leg for the other 30 seconds. And if we would like to make this a little bit easier further, or if we are performing any of our exercises seated, we can do leg extensions instead. So making sure that we are in the front third of our chair if we can, keeping that core embraced, and we are bringing leg up, squeezing the quad at the top, and bringing the leg back down and alternating the legs. Okay, so we're going to get started in 3, 2, 1, and go. Remember, feet hip width apart if we are standing, coming down for 4 seconds, and back up. Taking a nice breath in before we start, breathing out as we come down, and back up. Bev's demonstrating the knee extensions, so as we can see, doing one leg at a time, squeezing the quads at the top before coming back down. And if we are finding this a bit of a challenge, we can opt for doing a half lunge instead. If we are doing the half lunges, please do swap legs as we are at the halfway mark. Making sure that we're smelling the roses, blowing out those candles. And also ensure that we are working between that 3 to 4 range on the Borg scale. If we feel like we are hitting a 5 and getting a little bit breathless, we can opt for a half lunge or the knee extensions. Alternatively, if we feel like we aren't reaching that 3 to 4, we can hold weights to our chest and perform the squats with the weights to make it a bit harder. Weights down, and we're going to go into our active recovery, bicep curls and heel taps. 30 seconds for this one. They're performed the same if we're standing or seated. Keeping that breathing control, smelling those roses and blowing out those candles. Few more seconds, and then we're going to go into our second set. 3, 2, 1, and go. Make sure we're coming back to our sturdy surface if we need it for that balance. Down for 4 seconds and back up as we breathe in, and breathing out as we come down for 4 seconds. Keeping it nice and controlled. Smelling those roses, blowing out those candles. Remember, we can opt for those half lunges, which if we are doing, please do swap legs. And also we have the leg extensions. So we're bringing the legs up, controlling that movement back down. Excellent, try and get a few more in. And into our active recovery. Perfect, into our heel taps and bicep curls. 30 seconds. Keeping that breathing control, smelling the roses, blowing out the candles. Perfect, 5 more seconds, and then we're going to move on into our last set. And change. Last set. Slow movement down, 4 seconds, and back up. Breathing out as we come down, breathing in as we come back up. Excellent, so we're smelling those roses, blowing out those candles, aiming for that 3 to 4. If we're doing the lunges, swap legs as we're halfway. Perfect, we're keeping that core nice and tight as we're performing these exercises. Excellent, good. Last little push. See if we can get a few more in. Working really, really hard. And into active recovery. Bicep curls and heel taps. Last 30 seconds, and then we're going to have our little rest and into our position of ease. And then you can get some water if you need it. So keep smelling those roses and blowing out those candles. Last little push. 3, 2, 1, and relax into that position of ease. So again, if we are standing, staggered stance, hands resting on a sturdy surface, whether that's a table or a chair, keeping those shoulders nice and relaxed. And if we are seated, leaning forwards, arms resting on our knees with our palms facing upwards, breathing as hard and as fast as we need to initially. And then once we've got control of our breathing, in through the nose, out through pursed lips of the mouth, and get a little bit of water or a refreshment of your choice. So whilst you are having your recovery and in your position of ease, we are just going to demonstrate the last exercise of the strength component. So we're going to go into the forward arm raises, and then our active recovery is side steps and rows. So Bev here is going to demonstrate the forward arm raises. So we want to make sure that we've got that good base of support, feet hip width apart, and our shoulders going to be nice and relaxed. We're going to hold the dumbbells down to our sides, and we're going to aim to keep our knuckles pointing the ceiling as we are performing the exercise. So we're going to bring our arms up to shoulder height, make sure they are not going any higher, and then we're going to control the movement down for 4 seconds. If we do have any shoulder pain at all, what we can do is just not bring our arm as high, so we could always just opt for going to chest height instead. And if those weights are a little bit too challenging and we would like to make it a little bit easier, what we can do is just put one weight down and perform the same exercise with just one dumbbell. So holding the dumbbell in both hands, ensuring that we are not going past shoulder height as we are bringing the arms up, and make sure that we are not shrugging the shoulders, so we're keeping the shoulders nice and relaxed and down. Alternatively, we can also perform the exercises with no weights and do the exercises with just our hands. Okay, so we're going to get started in 3, 2, 1, and go. So holding your weights, bringing the arms up to shoulder height, and controlling that movement down for 4 seconds. Making sure that we are not shrugging the shoulders, so the shoulders are staying nice and relaxed. If we find that we are shrugging the shoulders too much, then maybe try and either reduce the weight you are lifting or hold just one dumbbell at a time, so we can really make sure that you are executing that exercise correctly before getting you to lift a little bit heavier. Make sure that we have that breathing control, breathing in through the nose, out through pursed lips of the mouth. So we're breathing in as we come up and breathing out as we come back down. Working between that 3 to 4 on the Borg scale. So if we are creeping up to a 5, adopt what Bev is doing, where she was either holding one weight or holding no weights. And weights down into our active recovery, side steps and rows. Making sure that when we are standing during this one, we are getting a full weight transference. So we are going from one leg onto the other leg whilst performing the rows. And if we are seated, we are just tapping our feet out to the side and also performing the rows. And pick up those weights again, second set. Adopting that good position, feet hip width apart, or if we are seated, coming in the front portion of your chair. Breathing in as we lift our arms up, making sure they're not going beyond shoulder height, and controlling the movement down for 4 seconds. This exercise is really, really beneficial for the shoulders, but they can fatigue quite quickly. So if you find that you would like to drop down to one weight, that is fine. Remembering that breathing control, in through the nose, out through pursed lips of the mouth. So we're smelling those roses and blowing out those candles. So as I said earlier about the Borg scale, if alternatively we feel like we aren't quite hitting that 3 to 4 yet and need to make it harder, then this might be a cue for next week to increase your weights, or we can slow the movement up for 4 seconds, as well as doing the slow movement down for 4 seconds. And weights down into our second active recovery, side steps and rows. Keeping that breathing control, smelling the roses, blowing out the candles. Last little push, and then we're going to do one more set. Almost there. And picking up your weight for the last time. Adopting that good base of support, feet hip width apart. Bringing the arms up to shoulder height. And back down for 4 seconds. Breathing in as we come up. And out as we come down. Remember, if we are experiencing any shoulder pain, we can just lift our arms up to about chest height. Or alternatively, we can do them without weights. Keeping the shoulders nice and relaxed, making sure that we're not hunching the shoulders. Making sure that we're working between that 3 to 4 on the Borg scale. And we are smelling those roses and blowing out those candles. Try and get one more in. And weights down into our last active recovery, side steps and rows. Last 30 seconds before we're going to go into a little rest and our active recovery. Sorry, our position of base. Excellent, last little push, smelling those roses, blowing out those candles, and recover in 3, 2, 1, and position of ease. Remember, if we are seated, leaning forward, arms resting on the top of the legs, palms facing upwards. And if we're standing, we're taking a staggered stance, leaning forwards, hands resting on that sturdy table or chair. Breathing as hard and as fast as we need to initially. And then once we've got control of our breathing, in through the nose, out through pursed lips of the mouth, and take a glass of water when you are ready.
So we're now going into our medley part of our exercise program today, and this is basically working on our stamina or working on our cardiovascular system, so our lungs and our heart. This is just making our lungs and our heart stronger and more efficient at pumping blood and oxygen around our body to these demanding muscles to allow us to participate in either active daily living tasks or enjoyable recreational tasks for longer before we become fatigued or shortness of breath. So when we're performing our medley, it's really important to think about pacing. So our medley consists of 10 one-minute exercises. So yes, we're performing 10 minutes of exercise continuously. So during our medley, there are no planned breaks, such as in our strengthening exercises. It's really important that if you're finding that you're starting to hit that 5 out of 10 on that Borg scale, that you either start to perform the easier exercises that I will discuss, or you go into the seated exercises like Ella will be performing, or you simply take a rest, go into your positions of ease and join back in when you can. So as you can see, I've got a chair next to me, so I've got a stable surface next to me, and I'm going to use this stable surface if I find that I get any balance issues during any of the exercises. So I can either hold on to it with one hand, or I can turn and face the chair and hold on with both hands if required and still perform the activity. You can also have a stable surface such as a table nearby to assist you if you wish to do so. So our first exercise that we're going to get started with is our high knee marching. So if you want to, you can either hold on for balance in either position, and I will just talk you through the next exercise as we get closer to the first minute being finished. And in 3, 2, 1, off we go. You may need to come forward in your chair if you are sitting to perform this exercise. If you're finding that you're getting hip issues with doing so, then you can go into your toe taps. So you can go toe taps forwards, in both either sitting or standing, but try and do the high knee marching if you can. And if you find you've got the right balance, try and bring your arms in. So again, you nearly need to think about your pacing. And as we're going to be working our lungs and our heart, we're going to be finding that our breathing rate increases. It's really important to think about that pursed lip breathing. So breathing in through that nose, out through that mouth. And again, just keep reminding yourself, where am I on that Borg scale? Do I need to think about just taming it down a little bit and either doing my toe taps or coming into sitting and doing the high knee marching or toe taps in sitting. Okay, so we're going to move into our second exercise, which is our side steps and punching. So side steps, get your legs going first if you have difficulties with coordination, and then when you're ready, add in some punching. Again, if you find you've got shoulder issues, bring your punching down lower. And think about getting that full weight transference when you're your side steps. And again, think about your ball scale. Do I need to think about slowing this down? Or do I need to go into sitting? Or do I need to just take a rest, catch my breath, and join back in when I can? Good, we're halfway through during this second exercise. So think about keeping that pursed lip breathing going, our breathing control, in through that nose, out through that mouth. Well done. And our next exercise, we're going into in about 10 seconds, is our mini squat. So you may want to use your stable surface for this one. And we are going into our mini squats or leg extensions if you're in sitting. So we don't have to worry about our 4 seconds down. If you're struggling with mini squats, you can go into a half lunge as well, which is good. Well done. Keep breathing in through that nose, out through that mouth. If you don't find you need to hold onto your chair, you can just place your hands across your chest. And if you're doing your lunges, swap legs as we're halfway through. Well done, guys. So think about, where am I on that Borg scale? Am I working at that 3 to 4? Do I need to push myself a little bit harder? Or do I need to just reduce the intensity slightly? Well done. So if you're sitting, think about squeezing them quads as you're lifting that leg up towards that ceiling. And keep your feet nice and still. And we're going into our speed ball. So bringing your hands up to chest height and rotating them forwards. Really important, this one, that we don't let our shoulders come up to our ears. We're keeping them nice and relaxed. And we can really think about our pursed lip breathing on this one. So breathing in through that nose and out through that mouth. And if you find that you're not on a Borg scale of anywhere up to 5, so if you're anything less, you can start adding some marching in. If you're finding that you're hitting that 5, just stand still and do your speed ball. And rotate in the other direction. Good. And again, any shoulder issues, you can just lower it down. Good, well done. Okay, and our next exercise, we're going into about 5 seconds, is our marching. And we're going into some marching. If you're finding that you're having any difficulty with marching, you can just go into some toe taps for us. So you can do this either in sitting or you can do it in standing. Good. So it's really important because we're going to go into a bit of a faster pace in a minute. Think, where am I on that Borg scale? Am I able to increase my intensity, or do I need to stick at the marching? If you feel that you can increase your intensity, we're going to go into a jog in 3, 2, 1, and we are jogging for 10 seconds. Good. So think about that breathing in through that nose, out through them and back to that marching. And it's really important now that you breathe as quickly as you can and then get back into your pursed lip breathing to recontrol that breathing. Good. In through that nose, out through that mouth to recontrol. Well done. And we're going to go into our running arms in 3, 2, 1. Feet nice and still, hips still, and swinging from the shoulders. Good, well done. So this is very quick, so it's really important to think about your pacing. Do I need to take a rest? Can I join back in a minute also when I have my breath back, or when my Borg scale is slightly lower? Or can I continue? Think about breathing in through that nose, out through them pursed lips if you can. Doing really well. Halfway through this exercise. Got 4 more exercises after this. The next exercise you will need a stable surface for. Going to go into our backward lunges. So if you're going to do the next exercise in sitting, come forward, make sure you're forward in your chair. We're going to go into our backward lunges in 3, 2, 1. So hands on the stable surface, stagger stance, and then we're just going to drop down and then swap legs. Good. And if we find that we're just struggling with the bend, we can just do some back steps in standing. Good. You can do 30 seconds on one leg and then switch legs over if that is easier for you. So think about that breathing, guys. In through that nose, out through this mouth. This is a difficult exercise on our legs, so we'll be demanding a lot of oxygen to these big leg muscles. So if you need to think about slowing the intensity down, decreasing it just to the back steps or into sitting, you're more than welcome to. 10 more seconds of this exercise. Okay, everyone, do your last one. Face forward, feet nice and still, and we're going to go into our lateral raises. Start off with your elbows into your side, lifting up to the ceiling. Good. Breathing in through that nose, out through them pursed lips. Well done, guys. As you can probably hear, my breathing rate has increased. This is a difficult one. It works our lungs and our heart. Really demanding oxygen from the whole of our body, so our blood is having to be pumped around our body quite quickly. Keep it up, guys. Well done. We're nearly there. 2 more exercises after this one. Good. You may want to use your stable surface for the next one. We're changing into our hamstring curls and bicep curls if you can manage it. So if you have balance issues, you can just do your hamstring curls. So taking our heel up to our bottom, or you can do your back steps again. Or if you're confident, you can do some hamstring curls with bicep curls involved. Well done, guys. So we're on exercise number 9 here. So our Borg scale, we're probably getting up to that number 4 or even pushing to that number 5. So just think, can I decrease the intensity so I can cope for that last minute and a half? Or can I continue at the rate that I'm going? Well done. Breathing in through them nose, out through them pursed lips. Think about our breathing control. Well done, guys. You're so nearly there. And we're changing into our 10th and final exercise in 3, 2, 1. And we're back to our high knee marching with our arms swinging. Again, if you're struggling with this one, you can just do some toe taps. And if you can get some arm swinging involved, that's brilliant. Well done. Really well done, guys. So just think about that breathing control on this last exercise. Well done. Keep going. Keep pushing for the last 30 seconds. Good. Keep it up, guys. Nearly there. Good. Keep going. Keep that breathing control going. Think about where you are on that Borg scale. And for the last 10 seconds, just slow it down. So really slow it down. Start letting that body just come back under control a little bit. And well done. 10 minutes completed into our positions of ease of either in standing, leaning against our stable surface, or in sitting like Ella is demonstrating. And breathing as heavily and quickly as needed at first. And when you can, think about relaxing them shoulders and breathing in through that nose and out through them pursed lips.
Okay, so we're now going to move into our cool down. So if we're not already, we're going to take a nice seat into our chair. And the purpose for our cool down is just to bring our body back to a near resting state. And we are also going to increase our flexibility by performing the stretches. So with a cool down, it's going to be very similar to the warm up. So we're going to start by stretching our neck, and we're going to work down our body all the way down to our ankles. So we're going to start by looking over our shoulder, stretching that neck, holding it for a second, back round to the front and to the other side. Keeping the movement nice and controlled. Finding that point where you find that stretch and not going any further. We want to make sure that we reach a point of mild discomfort and we're not pushing beyond that into any pain. So do a couple more repetitions. If we are still experiencing any breathlessness from the medley, just ensure that we are keeping that pursed lipped breathing. In through the nose, out through pursed lips of the mouth. And relax once we're facing forwards. We're then going to be looking up to the ceiling. And coming down nice and slowly, nice and controlled. Tucking your chin into your chest. Looking back up towards the ceiling. And down, seeing if we can bring our forehead down a little bit further. Back up to the ceiling. Hold for a second, or coming back down. And we're going to do one more. Looking up to the ceiling. And back down, bringing that chin into the chest. Excellent, good. And we're now going to bring our head to our shoulder. Feeling that stretch along the side of the neck. Coming up to the front and down to the other side. Holding it for a second before moving back up. Making sure with this one that we are bringing our ear to our shoulder and not our shoulders to our ears. Again, trying to find that point that is comfortable for you. So mild discomfort is what we should be feeling. And once we're up to normal, we're going to relax. So we're going to move on to our shoulders now. So come forward into the chair if you need. And then we're going to do some arm circles backwards. Driving the shoulders up to the ears, round and back down. Perfect, good. It's going to be really opening up that chest. Excellent, driving those shoulders up. And then hands on the shoulders, doing some backward circles with your elbows. Perfect, good. And if we can, we're going to do some backward swimmer arms. Remember that if you do experience any shoulder pain at all, or if you do have a little bit of reduced range of motion in your shoulders, just do some slightly smaller arm circles down instead, so we're not needing to come up as high. Excellent, and relax. Perfect. So we're going to move on to the controlled breathing stretches. So hands in front of the body as we take a nice deep breath in through the nose. We're going to breathe out as we twist round. Holding for a second before coming back forwards. Twisting round to the other side. Breathing in as we come to centre. And breathing out as we twist round. Feeling that stretch in the torso. Ensuring that we reach a point of mild discomfort and we're not going into any pain at all. We're going to do one more each side, breathing in as we come to centre, breathing out as we twist round, in as we come to the centre, out as we twist around, and relax the arms down. So you're going to do the same as before. So nice deep breath in through the nose and breathe out. We run our hands down and back up. Don't try and push yourself if you can't reach too far. It's more about trying to feel that stretch along the side here, more than trying to reach down to a certain point on your body. And try to also ensure that you're keeping your chest upright and you're not leaning forwards at all. So again, we're breathing in as we come up, breathing out as we come down. And last one. Excellent. So we can sit back into our chair if we need to. And then we're just going to perform our last ankle one. So finding a spot on the floor, tapping it with your toe and then with your heel. Going to be stretching out the calf muscle and all of the muscles surrounding the ankles. Excellent. And swap legs. Perfect, good. Really pointing those toes down, digging that heel into the floor. And relax there. Good. So if we're not already, get nice and comfortable sitting into the back of the chair. And we're going to place our hand on our chest and also on our stomach. And we're just going to do some nice controlled breathing to finish off with. So we're going to take a nice deep breath in through the nose, making sure that the hand which is on our stomach is rising. And as we breathe out through pursed lips of the mouth, we feel our stomach fall against our hand. So as Bev spoke about earlier, we're going to try and get it so that the hand that is on our stomach is moving and the hand that's resting on the chest is staying nice and still. So we're just going to perform some deep breaths in your own time, breathing in for around 4 seconds, breathing out for around 6, and just feeling your hand rise and fall against your stomach. Do a couple more. And relax there. So well done everyone in the class that you've done today. I'm sure you've all done fantastically. And just a little reminder regarding your weights. So when we are completing the exercises in the strength component, if you did feel like you weren't quite reaching that level 3 to 4 on the Borg scale, then it might be worth thinking about increasing your weights, especially if you haven't done it for at least 2 to 3 weeks. So if you were using tins of beans, you could have a look and see if you can get a heavier weight, or it might be a case of finding some water bottles, maybe going from a 500ml water bottle to a 750ml water bottle, or even to a litre water bottle, and filling those up all the way, and that can also act as a progression of your weights. Thank you all for participating, hope you enjoyed it, and we look forward to seeing you in our video soon.